Talk a little bit about, obviously, this is your best friend. You guys probably go way back. But
Sure.
talk a little bit about how people should approach these types of situations and
Sure.
negotiate these types of situations because a lot of them don't work out. And obviously
Sure.
yours has. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and like you said, I feel like a lot of people that you've talked to in business that have gotten to business with family or gotten to business with friends, a lot of the times, that is the thing that sometimes separates people from that friendship or relationship that they have, is when the business goes south or, some sort of disagreement happens. I think the most important thing is if you set the expectation from day one, and we actually do formal partnership operating agreements or an LLC operating agreement for every deal that we do, just to keep things very clean on the beginning, having that transparency from day one prevents a lot of the issues, conversations, or arguments down the road from even happening. So, for example, with Dylan and I on the house hacking side of things, we got a general partnership agreement where we kind of ran through a lot of the scenarios of, what if one of us wants to sell? What if one of us wants to, move in a family member? We've kind of already worked that out on the front end. So now that we have it on paper, we're transparent with each other, we're comfortable with how we want to structure it. Again, it really just prevents any of those conversations from coming up in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing a lot of time is like long-term goals, right? And maybe character wise, right? I mean, I get presented all the time with potential partnerships and potential deals and um the majority of time, I mean, I'm a very good I understand character and I can quickly recognize good character from bad character. It's just
Sure.
something that I'm really good at. And I'm from partnerships, I've done quite a few partnerships now in different ventures. It's always been based on long-term goals and character. Is this somebody that, I want to, that I wouldn't mind hanging out on Sunday, just
Yeah.
just chilling, just character based, somebody that's going to be there for the long run, somebody that isn't just motivated by money, even though money's a crucial part of this world and something that you should focus on. Is it something bigger for them? And that's how I've
Sure.
always treated partnerships. And then, like you said, clearly defining it. I did a flip with a partner, and we had clearly defined roles. We were really good at it.
Exactly.
But most of the partnerships I see, they have similar traits, they have similar skills, right? And that's why they're drawn to each other. And it almost never works out great because they don't decide who's going to be the decision maker, and that's the biggest thing, right? You have to decide up front, and you probably attest to this. Who's going to be the decision maker when tough times come, right? When everything's going good, it doesn't matter. But when things go bad, you have to clearly define it. And luckily for me, I partnered with an old timer who had done many deals, and he was the decision maker at crunch time, right? And I was totally cool with that. We never had a crunch time, but you have
Yeah.
to be really clear with that because that's when things go awry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Brad, one of the things you said that I think is most important is like the alignment of your mission and your goals. So, like for example, with our most recent Bird deal that we did, it ended up coming out pretty well, appraising around 80,000. Any person who didn't have the same buy and hold long-term vision and long-term strategy, they might have said, "Hey, let's sell this. Why don't we cash out on the 25,000 equity we created? We'll sell it. We'll split the money, and we'll just have that immediate satisfaction and gratification." And because Bob and I had set the expectation, like we are buy and hold investors, we are burning to be able to build up a rental portfolio, and this is our goal. That conversation didn't even come up because we had that same alignment, that same long-term goal of owning real estate portfolio of rental. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's a huge thing. If a flipper and someone who was a buy and hold investor wanted to partner, there'd be some friction there just because your micro process and your micro goals might be the same in that you want to fix and renovate and repair the property, but your exit strategy and how long you're willing to wait, that's where the deciding factor comes in.
Yeah, and you really do have to have these tough conversations up front because they may be intimidating, and you might, feel like you'll lose a friendship or whatever over it. But it's just so much better than having that conversation in the middle of each person having, their hard-earned money involved in the deal, and I mean things go south real quick.